all, welcome to Crochet Rebellion. My name is Marissa Kessler and welcome. I am going to be talking about the front post stitch that I use in my rainbow tweed. When I was designing the fabric for this particular project, I very quickly realized that the front post stitches I was making were not quite cutting it. They were uneven in tension and they made my garment curl, which doesn't work. So I did a ton of research and I realized that everything I thought I knew about front post stitches or back post stitches, simply going down to the stitch beneath it and wrapping it around and pulling up a loop, was wrong. You're actually supposed to go to the top of the stitch, not the middle or the bottom. And I'm going to show you what I mean by that. This is going to make this particular project turn out way easier for you. It's also probably going to fix any issues you have in the future with post stitches and garments being too tight or curling. So here is my work so far. I've made a small swatch so I can kind of give you some information on the stitches themselves. So I am at a spot where my very next stitch is going to be one of these post stitches. And I'm going to make it around the stitch right here. But I want to show you something about that stitch. There are these lines in it. So here's the very top of the stitch right here. Then there's this extra line connecting it to a stitch next to it. And then there's also that similar line connecting it to the stitch on the other side. When I say when making a post stitch, you want to wrap around the top. So we want to go over the top of these. So in a perfect world, I'm going to go this way, the very top of the stitch and through. Instead of going through the bottom of the stitch, which as you can see, if I do that, puts me underneath that connecting yarn. That is what distorts your front post stitch. So watch, I'm going to make that stitch and kind of show you what it looks like. I'm going to yarn over, find the stitch I'm going to be working in, this one right here. At the very top, very close to the top of the stitch is when I go in and insert my hook. Yarn over, pull back through, pull through 2 loops, pull through 2 loops. So you can see how that front post stitch sits. Let me make one more for you and get to a spot where I'm going to make my next one. So I'm doing a half double and a half double. Oop. Okay, so now I'm ready for my front post stitch. So, same thing, I want the very top. And you can see there's this little bottom part connector right there. There's this little connection right there. I'm going to avoid that. I'm going to go over the top of them. Yarn over, insert my hook around the very top part of the stitch. Yarn over and pull through 2 loops. And there you go. And you can see that is how to do your front post stitch, but to concentrate it on the top of the stitch beneath it so that your project does not curl. And just so you know, the yarn that I'm using is that Wagga Wagga sock yarn with the 4.25 millimeter hook. That's the same size hook that I used for the original tweed garment. And it gives you the same gauge. So this is just going to show you that yarn substitution, what it looks like. Happy crocheting!